So, hi, I'm Xaver from BMW, and I have this weird long name also, and my presentation is called BMW's Cloud Streaming Platform powered by VRED. I think I always say, I heard it's called VRED, but I cannot get used to it, so I keep saying VRED. A bit about the agenda. So our platform is called 3D App Store, and I will first explain a bit what that platform is, and then how we integrated VRED Core into it, and then I'll show a few of our XR collaboration features. Then go to what is currently the hot topic. I mean, you see it here also a lot, AI image generation, how we integrate that into our pipeline. And then another thing that's pretty fresh from basically last week, what we are experimenting with Gaussian splatting. So first, what is our 3D App Store? So we started with this already some years ago, and our idea was basically for all high-end visualization use cases. We want them not only in these smaller design studios, but really across whole BMW. We have use cases for it, and we want to make them available. And what was missing basically was one common platform to make that easily available without buying expensive gaming hardware, or in general expensive hardware for all users. So we opted for cloud streaming. And what we built is basically one platform that you can use to upload your application, invite other users, and then let them stream them. And we quickly found that depending on the use case, you need different streaming technologies. So we mostly started with like Unreal, Unity, like regular Windows applications. And those we stream with, used to be called Nice DCV, now it's Amazon DCV. And that's basically how the platform started. But then we saw actually a lot of VRED Go applications getting uploaded. And then we got in contact with the department, and then actually it was Danny from Autodesk who suggested, why not use VRED Core, because it also has a streaming capability. So then we integrated that. And we also brought in CloudXR from NVIDIA to also stream to VR headsets. And I think the best way of explaining it is one thing first. So basically what is this here is, also Danny sent me as to show where we got. So there was a first POC that was done to experience basically a VRED scene in VR, and to do that as a collaborative session, and then also bring in cloud instances from AWS. So basically all the components we added in later was here already from, I think, 2022. The first POC to show that it's technically possible. But it was not in an industrialized state, I would say, that you can very easily create these collaborative sessions in VRED yourself. So that's what we wanted to do. And then here you see basically the flow in our 3D App Store. So you go in there, you select your VR headset of choice if you want to use one. Then you just press stream, like on Netflix or YouTube is basically the inspiration. Then it takes a bit until you have your server and your stream ready. It's loading the car project, and then you already have it in your browser, easy to view. And then in this case, I'm connecting my VR headset, so putting on the headset, then that one has an app pre-installed that shows a code. And with this code, we basically allow we tell the instance to allow this headset to connect to it. And then you automatically activate the VR mode in VRED. And you have the scene in VR. So I think it's a super easy and straightforward way if you are in the office, and if you just want to have a quick look at a certain scene, you can just take a mobile VR headset, you can have it on the laptop or even on the phone, and access your scene and make it very easily available to everybody, also outside of the design departments. Even here, I hear a lot that people are surprised that we go a lot for public cloud. So all of this is hosted on AWS, and that we do so much streaming. But I think I have like these four key advantages I see for cloud streaming, and why I think it's a good point to invest in it. So first thing is, of course, scalability. So it's just we can just use cheaper or already existing hardware on the client side. So you don't need a gaming PC or a strong hardware to view the scene. Also no super expensive headsets, so you can just go with like a MetaQuest 3, for example. And the worldwide scaling is quite nice. So basically, we started with the region in Frankfurt, and then it was very easy to roll it out also in UK and US. And then also now recently we added China, which was a bit more work because it's a bit different AWS provider basically, but also same code. So basically always just starting up other regions, and then also when there's new hardware, new G instances, then you can easily replace them. So I think it's a very scalable approach in general. And then also from a security standpoint, so I think it's a great advantage that you don't have the data saved on the actual devices in the end, but only streamed. So if you lose a headset, if you lose a laptop, whatever, it's not on there, but it's always just streamed. And then also you can remove people. So if you say some person should have access to a scene for a certain day, you can do that, and then after that day, they get removed again. Or if they change department, whatever. So you can really flexibly update this access. And then user-friendly, which is my core wish to get this, because we want also, like, we don't want just the design department, but really give a broader access to these high-end visualizations. And I think for that, it's very important that you have a very frictionless access. So you basically get an invitation with a mail, you click on stream, and then you can view the scene. So you don't need to download any large data, you don't need to ensure you have the right viewers and all this, but it's really just pressing stream from the browser. And then collaborative, so I think what's also nice with this cloud setup is that you can basically control the setup much more granularly, so you can ensure that it's always possible to set up a collaborative session or multiplayer session, how we call it in the game world. And you can access the stream from multiple devices, and for both I have following up a few videos showing how we used these features. And then I want to highlight a bit what we do for the access management, because of course security is basically at the core of this whole platform. So there we have pretty detailed features what you can do. So it's basically per application you invite specific users, so it's connected to our database of users. Then you can decide for each user if they can download or not, only stream, if they become admins so they can upload themselves new versions. And then we have different modes, like something that is completely open, which is, at least for the design stuff, never the case, but then we have manual invite, which is this way that you invite people, and then secret is even like the next higher level that you cannot request access to these apps, and you need a YubiKey always. So it's always two-factor, but this is even the only YubiKey, so the next higher level. But in general, we had to make sure that the process we have here also works for other use cases. So here I'm showing more the design part, but the whole platform is also being used by the factory colleagues, for example, or then marketing in the end. So a lot of very different use cases, and I think it's pretty cool to see that you can have one platform where basically from early design to factory to marketing, everybody is getting value out of it. And then a bit how we integrated VRED Core. So I think this also needs to be compared to the other projects we have on our platform. So one very nice advantage is our users can just upload their VRED projects, so there's no building required. So compared to if you see it in an Unreal scene, for example, you always have this step that you need to get from the Unreal project to a build application. And that can be a bit more challenging, because our goal is always that the business departments can work themselves and don't need us from the IT to support them, but basically just use our platform. And then you have a common UI with the streaming app. So every time you open a VRED scene, you already know how you switch the variants, how you move the camera, all these things. So it's always the same, which is nice. And all these features that, for example, for Unreal or Unity, we need to build themselves into it, like having a VR mode, having collaboration variants, all this is already available out of the box. So it's really just having the project you anyway have uploaded to a platform, and then you can make it available to more users. And then this is a few interesting features. So one cool thing is, I think you can basically you run a stream on your maybe on a bigger monitor or like on a Powerwall, And then as you are logged into our platform, if you pull out your phone and open the 3D App Store there, you basically see, oh, you have a stream already running, and you can connect to it from there as well, and then also control it from there. So you could imagine a situation where you are in a meeting and then standing in front of the big screen, and then basically you just pull out your phone and you can control it from there, switch variants, and move the camera around. And yeah, that's the nice way of, or the nice advantage of having it in the cloud. You can access it from multiple directions and get some use cases out of it. And the second one is this one. So we have basically like a super high quality screen sharing. So you often have meetings where you then want to, you have to use Teams or whatever that allows you to share your screen. And what we have here is basically we give the user a button that looks like the screen sharing, and then you create a link. And if another user opens this link, we first check, does the user also have access to the application? And if yes, he gets also connected to the stream, but without being able to interact. So basically you just see what the other person is doing, and then, yeah, but still you get the same quality as the first user who's controlling the stream. So pretty nice. And I think this is also already being used like across regions, that you might have someone from China showing a scene, but they start a stream actually from the Frankfurt region and then control it from China, and then the people here that need to base some decisions out on it, they get the full quality stream. And then, of course, the next highest level of collaboration then is the real collaboration. So basically, multiple people start their streams and then can go together in a session. And what was important to me here is that the users don't need to find out their IP address and send this around. So basically, we took a service we already had for our more gaming use cases from Unreal and so on, where you can just say, I'm hosting a session. Other people that open the same application can request, does a session for my application exist? And if yes, you see it here. And then basically it's just like this. I say I host, other people see that session and can join it, and then you are together in a collaborative session. And then again, the cool thing here is you have here people in VR, but you can also join it just on your desktop or something. So it's basically very, very open to join from different devices. And of course, it also works across regions. So, and then what we also just recently added after the VR devices, which I think is also a very nice interaction, is to stream also to iPads, because you have still, of course, always people that don't want to wear a VR headset. So for them, this is a nice alternative. So, and you can basically walk around the car, talk with each other, look at the same iPad. And you still have this advantage, what I heard from lots of our users, that with VR you experience the car more, like the actual users in the end would. So if you have like a fixed monitor and you can just rotate the camera, they often end up like discussing little parts that you can only see from an angle that is not really seen in the real world. But with this, you already approach it a way that a user would, and this advantage you also have with the iPad solution, because you also walk around the car like you would realistically. And then I want to emphasize that it's actually was quite nice to see that you can really get this worldwide collaboration out of the platform. So I think it's multiple things. So everybody is always aiming for this. We want to have a VR session where someone is in Shanghai and someone in Munich, and I think that is in general possible. But also just to have one common platform where from the different regions people can upload their applications and then make it available somewhere else, especially between China and Germany. That is pretty cool to see that this works already. And then also this collaboration with teams from more outside of the design department. So for example, we have this workflow that we want to share the designs with the different markets. So then we have some designers from Munich showing their designs showing the state of a really already very refined car to product managers in US. And then they can already basically say, okay, we need these certain rims, or we need this much of this extras. So they already have a very good feeling of what products will come. That is, I think, very, very nice to see. And then, as everybody is working on AI, we are, of course, also exploring what we can do there. So we worked, made a POC together with Depix AI and Ideenkultivierung. They have a booth outside, so you can check it out. And when I heard about their tools and found out about it, I thought always it's probably nice to combine the 3D rendering that you have in VRED, for example, with the 2D image generation based on AI, because in the end, I think what we always want is really product correctness. So not have like fully AI generated cars, but basically have those rendered accurately and then more have the environments around it by AI. Yeah, and I think there we basically looked at two of their tools. So one is called Scene Shift, and that is basically you throw in a screenshot and then you can prompt background replacement, and it's not just replacing the background but also trying to adjust the lighting of the car without destroying it, but making it really fit into the scene. So it's a very quick way to either create really nice marketing shots or to just have a feeling, okay, how does my design look like in different types of environments. And we have a feature in our 3D App Store that works perfectly together with it. So we already had that you can create screenshots. So just basically use under the hood the VRED function, but then when you create a screenshot, you could also draw on it and do a few things with it. And into that, we integrated this feature. So basically, you can just say, prompt the background you want, apply it, and then you can it creates this image, and you can see it here. And I mean, in this example, you still see some imperfections, like the number plate, of course. But I think it's very nice to see that you would have already this pipeline ready, and then you can basically profit from the whole development this AI or this image generation based on Gen AI is having. So I think it's already that when we saw the new version of Depix, that's already way better. So I think it's now is the time basically to set up these pipelines that you can use it, and then you're basically profiting from the frequent upgrades and fast development in this area. And then, of course, if you give me this kind of tool, I start to do more not as serious stuff with it, and I think it was yeah pretty fun. So I started prompting with dragons, and then that turned as the default usage for us for testing it when we were working on it. So we have a lot of dragon images now, but I was not allowed to use this as official BMW marketing for some reason. Not sure why. And then this is also, I think, a cool example. So what you can do then, basically you start with a simple image on a gray background, then you prompt it to be like in this sundown Michael Bay style, still German Autobahn. And then if you throw that one into a video generation tool, in this case it was with Google Veo, it's really cool to see how fast you can get it into a really nice shot and scene. So yeah, I think this is again something we need to build up these pipelines, and then as these video models get better, integrate that as well. And I think you have very fast, nice workflows to show your designs and experience them. And the other thing is they have, so it's also, again, background replacement, but in this case, really panorama generation. So that we are also currently working on having like a full integration that I can select here. I have a button on top, and I say, okay, this is my prompt for the background, and then it creates this panorama and automatically applies it. And then you usually also have, like, you start with a lower resolution, and then you can upscale it. And then I guess all of this will grow some kind of library that you have different panoramas. And yeah, I think it's mostly for the cases where you really not want still the 3D scene and the perfect reflections. And it's also already interesting to see that you can very quickly then switch through, okay, show me now on a Chinese street corner, show me on a winter street, on an Autobahn, whatever. So it's very easy and quick to go through these different environments and test the designs in there. Yeah, and then One other topic that I'm looking into recently, I'm curious if someone else had the idea or is exploring something similar. So this year at GTC, I experienced a lot of very nice Gaussian splats demos. So it's basically this new technology that you usually start with a video or lots of photos, and you turn this into a 3D scene. And the advantage is there that it's basically, it can work only with images. So if you have this, it will generate like the information, where was the camera, and then build this 3D scene out of it. And this stuff is also developing very rapidly. So I think it's very interesting to see, like it started like 2 years ago, I think, with really large files, and now they are compressed so much and so small that it's really possible to have them in very lightweight viewers. So basically my idea was, okay, if you can create those out of photorealistic, of course photorealistic videos and photos, you could also synthetically render those, for example in VRED, and see if you can basically create a Gaussian splat out of a synthetic data set and then have the advantage of this super lightweight viewing. So one thing would be that you can have it just in the browser without even starting a streaming instance in the background. And then I was also thinking maybe even for the high-end VR streaming, we're also still reaching limits that we cannot really get 90 FPS with really high for example, ray tracing. And here what you could do is basically you don't really care how much one of the individual pictures takes to render, so you can say, okay, that can take a minute or something, and so you can basically crank up all the path tracing and all the values, so to really have perfect reflections and everything, and then create a Gaussian splat out of it, and then maybe view that in VR. And so basically the disadvantages, of course, it's more static, so you cannot really have variance in there, or if you want variance, then you have to create a lot of these splats. And no animations, but I think still it's probably for our first. Maybe I quickly go to my first test. So that's what we did there. So it's really just a very simple first test. Okay, just create like a sphere around the car. Had like I think 300 screenshots rendered, and then threw it into the default Gaussian splatting pipeline. And what you see here is basically really just I think it's a 100 megabyte file that I can just run in the browser. I could host anywhere, and I don't need to start a streaming instance for it. And I think it's already nice to see that the details come out pretty nicely. I mean, the reflections, of course, are very broken, but there are lots of papers that are actually working on that to get a much higher level of accurate reflections and highlights and so on. So I think this is something we will probably invest a bit into to see how far we can get with it. So I mean, the first step, I guess, is probably just to have it as a preview for a scene. So let's say you have to wait a bit for your full VRED scene to load, and until then you can display this. And then I guess it will at one point say, okay, maybe if you just want a quick check for certain things, you can this is enough. And then like I said, it could be also that for real high end where you need the perfect reflections, this can also at one point be a solution. And my goal is basically to also have like a pipeline ready that you can say from a VRED project that you have uploaded to the 3D App Store, you can also say, okay, turn this into a Gaussian splat, just like with one click, and then you have it ready for the other users. And it would basically use the same infrastructure, starting a streaming instance, creating all the screenshots, running the Gaussian splat pipeline, and then hosting it in our platform. So yeah, I'm curious there also maybe to exchange outside with if someone has some experience in there and with the whole Gaussian splatting topic, and yeah, also to see. I mean, maybe there's another nice idea we had from it. So what could also be a cool way of using this Gaussian splatting is have a quick way of introducing competitor vehicles, for example, into your scene. So you can basically put it next to it and compare it. So it would be also nice that if VRED themselves at one point also integrate Gaussian splatting and have viewers for that. So I'm curious if that will come up at one point. But that would be it. Thank you very much, and look forward to exchanging a bit more about streaming, high-end visualization, and especially this all in the cloud and how we combine it. And yeah, again, thank you for inviting, and it was a very nice conference here. Thank you. So.